Good morning. Welcome to a very foggy Friday. I've never really been out in the fog, and I've wanted to come out in the fog. I think I've watched too much Simon Baxter, and I could really do with him being here now to give me some pointers. I'm at the top side of Sheffield. To my left is a sort of wooded copse of fir trees, pine trees. I don't think there's any other kind of tree in there. Excuse me, I've got your ear. And over to my right, which you can just see coming up through the gloom, is an expanse dotted around with birch trees and beech trees. And just down the way, literally just off the road, I hop on a skip over the fence, which has got public right-of-way on it. There are maybe half a dozen, I think they're silver birch trees, just dotted around, quite nice shapes, which may well make decent images on their own, given that you've got separation between them and the background caused by the fog. Now, the fog is forecast for the full weekend. Yes! This is my first trip out, and depending on how today goes, it could well be my last. But hopefully it won't be, and I'm going to spend the weekend bombing around to all the locations that I've marked off to see if I can get some images that I quite like. Remains to be seen. As I know the theory, never had the chance to put it into practice, and that's what we're going to do this weekend. I have discovered that I'm an incredibly big wuss, and when I rocked up here it was still dark, and I'm like, oh, I'm not getting out there. It's far too spooky. Could be all sorts of horrible things lurking in those woods, and say I'm in the middle of nowhere and it's misty and oh yes. So I'm going to give it maybe another 10-15 minutes. Sunrise is about 10 minutes away. It's a little bit of a breeze. There's not going to be any long exposures. It's just going to be standard exposures on these. With long exposures, I'm going to end up with the trees moving, which I don't want. The fog is solid, so I'm not going to get any fog drifting in the background. It's just a wall of fog. As is very often the case, this fog is beginning to burn off a lot quicker than I anticipated. But as I wandered through the gate to do a little bit of B-roll, I kind of noticed this composition kind of jumped out and bit me. Oh, I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. So what I've noticed is, let's move this over here a little bit, I might be out of view now. I've got a V in terms of I have a path here and a path over here. No idea if you can see me, by the way. And then we've got these trees, and we've kind of got three, sort of. The foreground, we've got some lovely dew on the grasses. Now, I have no concept of if this is going to work or not. I do know that I need to change my settings, so we'll go up to F18, no, we'll go to F13. That's telling me 2.5 seconds. We'll focus on the tree. White balance wise, we're on 5880, which is giving it a slightly blue hue. I didn't think I'd need any filters, but I think I do. It's not going to be much. I'm thinking about it logically. The foggy white sky, whoops, is considerably brighter than the darker trees and the ground. So that's just a 0.6 soft grad. Yeah, that's a bit better. Don't know. I'm going to move on, have a look further down here before this mist disappears. Oh. So this is the next set of trees that I found, and the sky really is burning off, so this is going to be really, really quick. So it kind of looks at first glance As in, everywhere you look, there is a composition. But that isn't quite true. Now, we have got the sun trying to burn off this mist, and I'm having to recalibrate my brain slightly to look at this as a mono image, because I don't think it works as colour. The sun is beginning to come in and it's beginning to put a little bit of light on the tree stumps. I'd hoped that we might have had a few leaves left on them, but apparently not. They kind of look a bit dead, these ones. Right, let me just focus. Oh, I have a real issue with focusing this thing in live view. I'm sure it's pilot error. Now, I've swapped out my lenses. I'm on the 10 to 20 now. I'm still using the 0.6 soft grad. I'm f13, ISO 100 and a 50th of a second. I still quite like that. I've got the lovely shapes of that tree full, strong on in the foreground. The lines in the ground, which are paths, are leading you through to the trees, the clump of trees in the background. As a mono, I think that works. It's very spooky. I don't really need to be shooting on a tripod, in all fairness, because my shutter speed is higher than my focal length. I think it's just routine with me. I'm going to go for a wander down there, just handhold and see what I can come up with. Well, I am finding it quite liberating not putting the camera on the tripod. The sun is still trying to burn through, and you may well be able to see we've now got some blue sky up here, but this is still staying in mist. I've taken a wander down to the far end, or as far as I can go, with the 10 to 20 on. Now I've decided to break the big guns out and put the 70 to 200 on, just to see what happens. I almost sound like I know what I'm on about, don't I? So 70 to 200 is probably going to be 70mm that I'm shooting at. I'm still at ISO 100. I'm going to have to up the ISO, because even at 70mm, I'm down at a 40th of a second. And ISO, if I pop that up to 400, that should be fine. I have got VR switched on. I have still got my 0.6 soft grad on. And I've seen I've seen this done by photographers that are far better than me, but I've never done this. So I need to try and find a composition that works at 70mm, which means I'm going to have to wander around a little bit more. And I keep forgetting there are actually trees behind me as well. There's trees everywhere. It's wonderful. Right, I'm just going to continue wandering around. So I've told you my base settings. f6.3, that helps to give a little bit of separation. I can drop that down, because this is the f2.8 lens. I can drop that all the way down to f2.8 if I need to, and that's going to give me, 0.08 of a second. And see if I can do anything with this, because again, this is a completely new style of shooting for me. No tripod. Whoa, what's going on? Back the blooming truck up. Now, because I've been wandering around with the 70 to 200 on, doing handheld shots, I haven't really been able to talk to you. The mist is still hanging around. The sun is climbing ever higher and still trying to burn this off. I wasn't happy with the focus on the 70 to 200. I could hear the lens breathing, which generally means it's playing silly beggars and it doesn't want to focus. So I popped the 17 to 55 on again. I've still got my soft grad on, and when I've been wandering around, I've come across this. Now we have these two remnants. I'm sure it was a beautiful tree at one point. One's shooting up virtually upright, and the other one is curving left, and it's curving over the three that are in the background. There's also a little bit of a path leading through, and we still have the the dew on the vegetation, which is kind of goldeny leaved. It's very, very delicate. Right now I'm wishing I'd brought the 90mm Tamron out to play. Can't have it all. So I'm going to try and... I did this shot with the 70-200, but as I say, I'm just not 100% on the focus. So pop the 17-55 on, in the vain hope that I can actually get close enough. I'm at f4.5. At least this is telling me it's focused. I'm just liking how it's curving over the trees in the background. I think I was shooting in portrait orientation to get the path in. And I'm also trying to exclude, there's another couple of little trees over on the right. I'm trying to exclude those, but make sure that I don't clip the back trees with the curving branch to the left-hand side. It kind of works okay as a mono, and it kind of works okay as portrait. Oh, that doesn't want to focus. The mist is making it slightly hard. I'm kind of envisaging as just clipping that tree, a square crop. And I think I prefer the landscape orientation, but I'm just getting the trees in on the right, so they're going to have to be cloned out, because I want this to be just those trees. There's five trunks, yeah, trunks, and things work best in odd numbers, so that's perfect. I've abandoned my bag and my tripod up there somewhere. Hoping there's not going to be anybody lying around. Well, although we haven't got any leaves left on the trees, I'm really pleased I came out, because this is fabulous. What a fabulous morning. I've ventured a little further. I think I'm south. Geography was never my strong point. But I've come up onto an edge in the vain hope that this thick fog is going to drop into the valley now that the sun is up and trying to burn it through. There is actually some nice blue sky coming up there. That little area that I've been to holds so much potential for all the seasons. So we've got sunrises, we've got heather growing amongst the silver birch. We've got fog and mist, and then we'll have snow, we'll have ice, we'll have frosts. The place is... the possibilities are blowing my mind, and I can't wait to get back there. So thank you for coming along, thank you for joining me. Hope it wasn't too boring for you. See you next Sunday, possibly, probably, out in the fog again. Bye for now.